Hey, what is up, y'all? Today we are back with another video, and today I will be doing my annual NFL predictions before the season. And to starting things off, we're going in alphabetical order based on the first, where the location. So, for example, Arizona will be first instead of like the Bears or some team like that. So that's how we're going to be doing that. Anyways, I know I haven't been uploading a lot. It's just I've had a lot of things that I've been doing this summer. But let's start things off with the Cardinals, like I previously said. And I have them going 2-15. They don't have the best roster. Their schedule is incredibly challenging because their division, 6 guaranteed losses, 6 guaranteed hard games, plus like the Chargers, they have the Commanders, they have the Chiefs, they have other teams that are very challenging. I think they do sneak another win other than the Jets, because I think they are better than the Jets. But I don't think that they might get one more win because it's NFL and they can catch someone by a trap game, and that's about it. So I have them going 2-15, and the next team I have is the Falcons. And I have the Falcons going 4-13. Now listen, they do have plenty of talent. They have a pretty solid defense. They have Drake London. They have Bijan Robinson. They have Kyle Pitts. A lot of weapons. It's just, quarterback showed anything, that team is not good. Because Cousins was actually doing decent at the end of the year when they knocked off the Rams and stuff. But I don't trust Tua. He throws too many interceptions. His arm is not strong enough. And he has a concussion problem. And Penix is coming now off of his third torn ACL in his football career, which is, it's impressive he came back after 2. I don't know what the third one's going to do to him and how he's going to look like after that. So I have them going 4-13, even though their division is going to be pretty much easier. And then the next team I have is the Baltimore Ravens. And I have them going 12-5. If Lamar can stay healthy, Henry can stay healthy, that defense can improve under Jesse Minter, that team is going to be a lot better than they were last year. Last year, injuries plagued them. The coaching was very questionable, especially in that Patriots game where they rested Henry in the fourth quarter when he was averaging 7 yards a carry. But and their defense was not very good. I have them going 12-5, and they could easily do a lot better because I like this team and how they're building. It's just, I'm not sure. I think Cincinnati's going to be tough in that division. I just don't know how they're going to fare up against the other AFC powerhouses. And speaking of another one, with the Buffalo Bills, I have them going 13-4. Listen, they went 12-5 last year, I'm pretty sure, with their best receiver being Khalil Shakir. Now that's DJ Moore, who might be a little bit past his prime, but he's a huge upgrade. And Shakir being the second option, mainly being a rack option instead of the main offense, that's going to be a huge upgrade for Josh Allen. I don't like that they fired McDermott and replaced him with Joe Brady, because I thought, I don't know why, but I feel like having Josh Allen as your quarterback is kind of saving him, and I kind of liked what McDermott was doing there. always had them in contention every year. So, but I still think that they are going to be a very strong team. And then next, we have the Carolina Panthers. I have them at 9-8, finishing 9-8. Main reason why is because I do think Bryce Young will continue to improve. That is great. And plus, their good defense already just added Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips into free agency. Maybe overpaid for them, but that's what you got to do to get a good player nowadays. I don't like that they lost Scorton for the season and Brazzell for the season, because Brazzell was going to be, could have been huge, but I do think T-Mac's going to improve. I think Coker's going to improve. I'm not sure what Legette's going to do, but I have faith in McMillan and Coker in that receiving room. And next, we have the Chicago Bears. And I have them finishing 11-6. I think they'll stay the same. I don't think they'll improve that much, simply because they did lose a great center, which would have been, that's huge for their running game. You need to have a good center. And also, I just don't know. I feel like they can't rely on fourth quarter comebacks as much. We saw what happened to the Commanders last year after they couldn't rely on Shane Daniels pulling a rabbit out of the hat to win them games. And they collapsed. But I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think Caleb's going to improve. I think Swift and Monangai is a great running back duo. I think their defense can improve. That's going to be a scary team. And still finish 11-6. And then next, I know I'm a Bengals fan, but I have the Bengals finishing at 12-5. I do think that Dexter Lawrence being there is going to help not only the pass rushing, but he's also going to stop the run stopping. As much as I love Trey Hendrickson as a player, he was a great pass rusher. Got all our sacks 2 seasons ago, basically. He was not a great run defender. Dexter Lawrence is, because he'll just eat up all the other blockers so the other guys can go and make a play, which is very important. And I don't know, I feel like the defense, if the defense just could be top 20, that offense can carry them to 12-5 easily. We saw what happened when they did have a top 20 defense, and that was AFC Championship. Now, I don't think they will go as far as that this year, but I can see them being a scary threat this year. That's why I have them tied with the Ravens for the division. I do think Baltimore is going to have a tiebreaker, but I think you guys should watch out for Cincinnati. And next, we have the Cleveland Browns. They're the Cleveland Browns, so I have them going 3-14. I don't trust the quarterback situation. Their defense should still be decent. I still don't like that they lost. Losing Myles Garrett is a huge blow. So I have them going 3-14. The Browns are going to still be trash. Not much for me to say. Then we have the Cowboys. I have the Cowboys finishing 9-8. I like the Downs pick. He's looked very good in training camp so far, but I don't know if that's going to translate to in season. But I think if Dallas's defense can improve to at least be top 25 and not be the worst defense in the league, they could easily win 9 games. We saw how Dak looked with CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens. Javonte Williams had a career revival last year. I think that could be a 9-8 team. That is a very solid team. And then next, we have the Denver Broncos. I have them finishing 13-4. The main thing is I think Jalen Waddle is a huge addition for that offense. I know I have them losing one more game than last year. I just think the rest of the league got better. So I don't think they'll get as lucky. Like, they got so lucky in some of the games. Like, against the Giants, like, they came back down like 32-0. That's not going to happen anytime soon again. But I think 13-4 is very good with the Jalen Waddle addition. I think they'll be in contention for the number 1 seed. Then next, we have the Detroit Lions. I have them bouncing back and finishing at 13-4. I just think that last year, they just got absolutely decimated by injuries again. And if their offense can get back to at least half of what it did look like under Ben Johnson, that's a 13-4 team. I think Goff is very good. St. Brown, J-Mo, I think Gibbs, they're just going to help the offense. The defense is a little shaky, but I think it'll improve from last year. I think they did a great job getting rid of Arnold because that's a locker room issue, having someone that's under those charges. Good thing they cut him. I think 13-4 is fair for Detroit. And next we have the Green Bay Packers, and I have them finishing 7-10. I know this is low for some people, but I really don't think they'll be that good because you saw it. They lost their last 5 games without Parsons at the end of the season. That is very bad for a team that won't have him for half the season. Now, I don't think they'll lose the first 8 games of the season, but I don't think they'll be as good without Parsons for half of it. And 7-10 is fair in my opinion, because they lost Dobbs, who is arguably their best receiver. I just don't like that team that much other than Jordan Love. And then next, we have the Houston Texans, and I have them finishing 12-5. I love their defense. CJ Stroud has to show that he can at least get a little bit improved and a little bit closer to rookie form CJ Stroud. Because they could have easily made the Super Bowl if CJ Stroud didn't shit the bed in the playoffs. Watching him play, he looked like he had ants in his pants in the pocket. He was shaking like crazy. No wonder he threw 4 picks in the second round against the Patriots, and he had like 4 fumbles in the first round. Turnovers galore. If he can at least turn those down, that's a very scary team. I think Houston finishes 12-5. And next, we have Indy. I have the Colts finishing 8-9. I'm happy Daniel Jones is coming back for that team, but I don't think he'll be as good as he was last year, simply because a torn Achilles is a very brutal injury in sports. However, I think they will still have quite a bit of momentum. If Steichen has shown you, he gets the team to basically 500 every year, even with Gardner Minshew and Anthony Richardson. I think Daniel Jones is better than both of them, easily. So I think 8-9. I think their team got worse, like specifically their defense. But next, we're going to Jacksonville. I have them finishing 7-10. Guys, you might think I'm a Jags hater because I was doubting them all season. Look what happened. Jacksonville is an incompetent organization. they will have one good year and then go right back to reality the next year. Last year, they went 13-4. I had to break it to you. The last 2 times the Jags have had good seasons, they fell right off a cliff the following season. I think that trend continues. They finished 7-10. They lost Devin Lloyd, who was their best linebacker. I really don't know what Travis Hunter is going to do because I don't know what position he's going to play or if he's going to play both. And if they're not sure, might as well just let him play both again. I think 7-10 is fair for Jacksonville. I do like Cohen as the coach, but I just don't trust Trevor Lawrence yet. Trevor Lawrence has had 2 good years. 2 good years in his entire career. Out of a 6-year career. You think I'm going to trust that? Then next, we're going to have Kansas City. As much as I dislike the Chiefs, I have them finishing 9-8. Mahomes is coming back. He looked very good last year. I think the Chiefs are always going to be a playoff threat with Mahomes because he's that much of a player elevator. Don't say I'm glazing him. I really don't like the Chiefs, but I respect Mahomes a lot. Now we're going to go to the Raiders. I have them finishing 5-12. They're going to improve off of last year with Cousins or Mendoza starting. I'm not sure. I'm sure Cousins is going to start and Mendoza is going to come in around like week 8 around-ish. I think 5-12 is fair. I think Bowers going to be healthy for the entire season. I think the addition of Linderbaum is going to make Gentry's life running the football a lot easier. But I just don't trust the receivers and the defense nearly enough for them to finish with 6 wins. And then next, we're going to have the Chargers. And I have them finishing 10-7 because I just trust Herbert in the regular season. I don't trust the offensive line staying healthy because they do have a pretty solid tackles, but the tackles can't be the only form of protection. The guards actually have to do something. And we saw what happened when the tackles were out for last year and Herbert was running for his life the entire second half of the season. And if I can't trust the tackles staying healthy, I can't trust them being any better than they were last year. And they finished 11-6. I think they finished 10-7 this year simply because I don't trust the guards room. We saw what happened last year. And then next, we have the Rams. 15-2. They were a 12-5 team last year, arguably the best team in the league. They were a muffed punt away from winning the Super Bowl last year. And then they got Trent McDuffie, all-pro cornerback. And then they just got Myles Garrett, the defensive player of the year, who just broke the single-season sack record last year. And there's rumors that Aaron Donald's going to come back. And we've seen the training clips of that. He seems like he's going to be coming back. That's 15-2. I think they lose one to Seattle. And then they just lose a trap game somewhere in there because you know how hard it is to go 17-0. And then next, on the opposite side, we have the Dolphins finishing 2-15. Yeah, I said that. 2-15. I just don't like the receiving room. I do like Malik Willis. I do like Achane, but I don't like their defense or receivers or O-line. I just don't like any of it other than Willis and Achane, and they can't be the entire offense or the entire team. So I think Miami's going to only beat the Jets and catch another team in a trap game. And then we have the Minnesota Vikings. I have them finishing 7-10. I do like that they announced Kyler as their starting quarterback, but I just don't trust them enough in that division with the Bears and the Lions. I do think that team can be dangerous. They have Kyler with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Juwan Jennings is very scary, and their defense is always going to be good. But I just don't know if, first off, if Kyler is going to be the answer at quarterback, and second off, if he can stay healthy, because if J.J. McCarthy is that, I don't think they're going to win 9 games again with J.J. McCarthy. And then we have the Patriots. And I have the Patriots going 12-5. I do think they're going to regress a little bit, but I don't think the schedule is going to play as much as a factor as people are thinking it will, simply because the team is still very good. We saw what happened in the playoffs. I know they didn't have toughest competition, but still they made the Super Bowl, which is very impressive. And you don't make the Super Bowl, you have to face tough competition. I don't think they would have beaten Denver if Bo Nix was healthy, but they still got to the AFC Championship game where they had to play the Texans, who I thought were going to make the Super Bowl. So I think 12-5 is fair. A.J. Brown's a huge addition. Their defense should still be solid. It's just their schedule is going to be a lot harder. So I don't think they're going to get 2 easy wins like last year. And next, we have the Saints. I have them finishing 8-9. The main reason is I trust Shuck's development. I like the addition of, it wasn't Lemon, it was the other receiver. It was that they drafted 9th overall. I liked that. He's going to be very good. Him and Olave, that's going to be a very scary receiving duo. And I think their defense is going to be okay. So, 8-9. Next, we have the New York Giants. I have them finishing 4-13. It might sound like I'm hating. Jackson Dart was not good last year. I don't care what the media tells you. He was not good. Joe Flacco had more passing yards than him. I know Joe Flacco, a 41-year-old, had more passing yards, and he looked better than Jackson Dart. Shuck looked better. Ward looked better because he had 2 good games, 2 or 3 good games, but the rest of the games, not good. Scatterboo, I don't know if he's going to be as good after breaking his ankle. And as much as you guys blaze Harbaugh, the Ravens would have, with a better head coach, let's just say Sean McDermott, who was fired for the Bills because he was kept on getting eliminated in playoffs, Baltimore would have finished 12-5 easily with McDermott and not Harbaugh. Harbaugh has been choking games for the Ravens for the last 5 years. I don't think he's going to help the Giants that much. I think their defense is going to be better. I think their offense might be slightly better, but 4-13, I think that's fair. And next we have the Jets. 1-16. I'm not as high as people are. I don't know why people have the Jets winning 3 or 4 games. They're finishing 1-16, and the only one's going to be against Miami, because both teams are equally as trash. The Jets, they just have a bad head coach. Their quarterback's old and not very good. Their defense is not going to be very good. Their receiving room's not going to be that good other than Garrett Wilson and maybe Omar Cooper. And Breece Hall is an inconsistent running back who's probably going to go off against the Miami when they win that game. So that's all I have for the Jets. They're not worth talking about. On to Philly. I have them finishing 12-5. I know they lost A.J. Brown, but Devontae Smith, Mekhi Lemon, I like those receivers still. I think Saquon's going to bounce back. I think the offensive line's going to be okay. I think Kurtz is going to improve last year after Patullo left or got fired because he was not a good offensive coordinator. Trust me, I'm an Eagles fan, and he said the same thing. Patullo sucks. And I think the Eagles are going to be 12-5. Their offense should be explosive. Their defense should be as good as they were last year with Mitchell, Lejeune, and their pass rush unit that's always scary with Jordan Davis and Carter. Next, we're going to talk about the Steelers. I have them actually finishing below 500 this year. 7-10. Tomlin won't have his voodoo magic against that he throws on teams that makes them have 5 turnovers in a game that gets them one lucky win. And they're going to finish 7-10. They're just the same team. I just think Tomlin's a better coach than McCarthy, so they're just going to finish with 2 less wins. 7-10, I think, is fair for Steelers. I think Steelers fans would be happy if they finished 7-10 instead of 9-8 and 10-7. And next, we have the San Francisco 49ers, and I have them finishing 12-5. I do not like all the injuries they've had at training camp, but still, even though they've been an injury-riddled team this year, they have been injury-riddled for the past 6 years, and they've made 3 or 4 AFC championship. They've made 3 NFC championship games this decade, and they've been injury-riddled all decade. Every season, all decade. I do not have any idea why it would be any different unless McCaffrey got hurt. But 12-5, I think, in the best division in football is very good. Then next, I have Seattle finishing 14-3. I don't think they'll lose a step. I think their running back losing Walker's could be hurt and some defensive pieces. But McDonald's a defensive mastermind. Their defense, I don't think, will lose a step. And I think their offense is still going to be very good with Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Cooper Kupp. That is still a 14-3 team. They just won't win the division because of the Rams. And then next we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I might get hate for this. I have them finishing 5-12. The main reason why is because I just don't trust Baker. I don't trust that team to close out games. Their defense has lost other good players. They lost Rachaad White, who's a solid running back. And Baker, I know he was playing through injuries at the end of the year, but I just don't know if he can't play through injury. If he plays through injuries, that's not a good sign because a backup is better than a starter that plays through injuries. We saw that last year. I think 5-12, they're just going to continue to decline. It might be a blessing in disguise because Bowles might get fired, but 5-12 is fair. Next, we have the Titans, and I have them finishing 7-10. I think Cam Ward's going to improve. I think their receiving game has improved a lot with the 4th overall pick being a receiver, Carnell Tate, and Wan'Dale Robinson being added. And I like the additions they made in defense with Alontae Taylor. I think 7-10, they'll improve. I like Saleh, the head coach. I like Dable as the offensive coordinator. 7-10 will be a bounce in the right direction and kind of be a taste of what they can be in the future. And then to finish things off, we have the Commanders, and I have them finishing 9-8. I think Jaden Daniels being healthy is going to be huge. I love the addition of Stephon Diggs in that receiving room. I think their defense should improve with Sonny Styles. I just think that last year was a down year, but they'll bounce back because they have everyone healthy. And don't forget, 2 years ago, they made the NFC Championship game. They're still a very scary team. I think 9-8 is going to be a step in the right direction. They won't be as good as they were 2 years ago, but they still will be decent. 9-8 is very fair. Anyways, see you guys next time. Peace.